Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, the USS Titan. He looked at the big screen that showed space around them. Far away, he could see lights moving toward Earth. These were not human ships. They were alien ships coming to attack. Jake had been in the Navy for 30 years. He had fought in many battles, but never against aliens. Today was different. Today, creatures from another world wanted to take over Earth. The bridge was quiet, except for the soft sounds of computers working. Jake's crew watched the screens with worried faces. They all knew what was coming. The aliens had sent a message. 3 days ago, they wanted Earth to give up without a fight. Captain Lisa Barrett was on another ship called the USS Phoenix. Her ship was smaller than Jake's, but it was fast and strong. Lisa looked at her crew of 60 people. They were all young and scared, but they were ready to fight for their home planet. Lisa had joined the Navy when she was 22. Now she was 35 and one of the best ship captains in the fleet. She had never expected to fight aliens, but she was ready. The alien ships were getting closer. There were 47 of them, and they looked nothing like human ships. The alien ships were long and smooth, with no sharp edges. They seemed to glow with a strange light that made them look almost alive. The aliens called themselves the Zephyrian Empire. They had been watching Earth for many years. They thought humans were weak and stupid. They believed their technology was much better than anything humans could make. Commander Steve Patterson was on the USS Liberty, another human ship. He had been in many space battles before, but always against other humans. Fighting aliens was something new and scary. His ship had a crew of 80 people, and they all looked to him for leadership. Steve was 40 years old and had been in the Navy since he was 18. He was known for being calm in dangerous situations, but today, even he felt nervous. The aliens had better weapons and stronger ships. The human fleet only had 12 ships against their 40-7. Captain Amy Walsh commanded the USS Defender. She was the youngest captain in the fleet at only 29 years old, but she was smart and brave. Her crew trusted her completely. They knew she would do everything possible to protect Earth. Amy had always wanted to be in space. As a child, she dreamed of exploring the stars. She never thought she would have to fight to protect her home planet from alien invaders. The alien leader was named Admiral Kethfaros. He was a tall creature with green skin and yellow eyes. He looked like a giant lizard that could walk on 2 legs. His voice was deep and scary when he spoke. Kethfaros sent a message to all the human ships. His words were translated by computers, so humans could understand them. He said that humans were nothing but primitive animals. He said their ships were just pieces of metal that could not fight against superior alien technology. The alien admiral laughed as he spoke. He told the humans they should surrender now. If they gave up without fighting, maybe some humans could live as slaves. If they fought, all humans would die. Jake Morrison listened to the alien's words with anger growing in his chest. No one had the right to come to Earth and demand that humans become slaves. He would rather die fighting than live as a prisoner. The human ships spread out in a defensive formation. They knew they were outnumbered and outgunned, but they would not give up. Earth was their home, and they would protect it with their lives. Lisa Barrett checked her weapon systems. The Phoenix had railguns that could shoot metal projectiles at very high speed. The guns were powerful, but she wondered if they would work against alien shields. Steve Patterson did the same on the Liberty. His ship had the newest weapons that Earth could make. But were they good enough to fight aliens who had been traveling between stars for hundreds of years? The alien ships moved closer. They were beautiful in a strange way, but they were also terrifying. Each one was bigger than most human ships. They had weapons that could destroy a human ship with one shot. Amy Walsh tried to keep her crew calm. She knew they were all scared, but fear could make people make mistakes. In space battles, one mistake could mean death for everyone on the ship. The aliens stopped their ships just outside the range of human weapons. They seemed to be studying the human fleet, probably deciding the best way to attack. The humans waited, knowing that the battle would start soon. Jake Morrison opened a communication channel to all human ships. He told his captains to be ready. He reminded them that they were fighting for their families, their friends, and their home planet. Even if they could not win, they would show the aliens that humans were not easy to defeat. The space around Earth was quiet, but everyone knew it would not stay that way for long. The aliens were confident they would win easily. They had no idea that humans had been preparing for this day. They did not know that Earth's most powerful weapon was still hidden, waiting for the right moment to appear. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and nothing would ever be the same again. The attack began without warning. At exactly 8 in the morning, the alien ships opened fire. Bright beams of energy shot through space toward the human ships. The aliens did not try to talk anymore. They just started killing. Captain Lisa Barrett felt her ship shake as the alien weapons hit the Phoenix. The lights on the bridge flickered as she could hear metal groaning under the stress. Her shields were failing fast. "Return fire," Lisa shouted to her crew. The railguns on the Phoenix began shooting. Metal projectiles flew through space at incredible speed. Lisa watched in amazement as the tungsten rounds went right through the alien shields and hit their ships. The aliens had expected their shields to stop human weapons. They thought human technology was too primitive to hurt them. They were wrong. The kinetic energy of the railgun rounds was something their shields could not handle. Admiral Kethfaros watched from his flagship as 2 of his ships exploded. He could not believe what he was seeing. How could primitive human weapons destroy his advanced ships? His tactical officer had no answers. "Sir, their weapons are using pure kinetic energy," the tactical officer said. "Our shields are designed to stop energy weapons, not solid projectiles moving at such high speeds." Kethfaros was angry. His intelligence reports had said that humans only had basic weapons. No one had told him about these railguns that could punch through Zephyrian shields like they were made of paper. Commander Steve Patterson saw his chance. The Liberty was fast and well armed. He ordered his ship to move closer to the alien fleet. His crew was scared, but they followed his orders. They trusted their captain to keep them alive. The Liberty's railguns fired again and again. Each shot found its target. 2 alien frigates exploded in bright flashes of light. The human crew cheered, but Steve knew they were still outnumbered. The USS Defender, under Captain Amy Walsh's command, moved to protect the damaged Phoenix. Amy was young, but she was a skilled pilot. She flew her ship between the aliens and Lisa's wounded vessel. "Phoenix, get behind us," Amy said over the radio. "We'll cover you while you make repairs." The battle was fierce. Human ships were smaller and seemed weaker, but they were tough and hard to kill. The aliens had better shields and more powerful weapons, but the humans were smarter and more determined. Captain Amy Walsh coordinated the human ships into a defensive formation. Her tactical display showed the situation clearly. The humans were losing. They had already lost 3 ships, and more were badly damaged. The alien plasma cannons were devastating. When they hit a human ship, the damage was terrible. The USS Ranger exploded when 3 alien ships focused their fire on it. 80 human lives were lost in seconds, but the humans did not give up. They kept fighting with everything they had. The USS Liberty destroyed another alien ship with a perfect shot to its engine section. The alien ship spun out of control and crashed into an asteroid. Lisa Barrett's Phoenix was badly hurt. Her engines were damaged, and she could barely move. But her weapons still worked, and she kept firing at the aliens. Her crew worked frantically to repair the damage. "Engine room, I need power," Lisa shouted into her communicator. "We're trying, Captain," came the reply. "But the plasma conduit is fried. We need at least an hour to fix it." Lisa knew they did not have an hour. The aliens were pressing their attack. More human ships were taking damage. The USS Freedom was listing to one side, leaking air from multiple hull breaches. Steve Patterson's Liberty was running low on ammunition. His railguns had been firing continuously for 20 minutes. Each shot used up precious tungsten rounds, and they did not have many left. "Weapons officer, how many rounds do we have left?" Steve asked. "About 50 rounds per gun, sir. Maybe 10 minutes of continuous fire." Steve nodded grimly. It would have to make every shot count. The aliens still had more than 30 ships left, while the humans were down to 9 functional vessels. The alien admiral was getting frustrated. This was supposed to be an easy victory. His ships were superior in every way. But the humans were fighting like cornered animals, and they were surprisingly effective. "All ships, focus fire on the largest human vessel," Kepharos ordered. "Destroy their flagship, and the rest will surrender." But Jake Morrison's USS Titan was ready for the concentrated attack. The big ship's armor was thick, and its shields were the strongest in the human fleet. The alien weapons hit it again and again, but the Titan kept fighting. Amy Walsh saw what was happening. The aliens were trying to destroy the Titan to break human morale. She ordered her ship to move closer to help, but the defender was already damaged and slow. The battle was reaching a critical point. The humans had fought bravely, but they were losing. Their ammunition was running out, and their ships were badly damaged. The aliens still had overwhelming numbers. Just when things looked hopeless, something appeared on the long-range sensors. It was big, much bigger than any ship in the battle. It was moving toward them from the outer edges of the solar system. "Captain, I'm picking up a massive contact on long-range sensors," the sensor operator on the Phoenix reported to Lisa Barrett. Lisa looked at her screen. The contact was huge, larger than anything she had ever seen. It was moving fast, heading straight for the battle. "What is it?" she asked. "Unknown, Captain, but it's definitely one of ours. The signature matches human technology, but it's unlike anything in our database." Similar reports came in from all the human ships. Something was coming, something that could change everything. The human crews felt a spark of hope for the first time since the battle began. Admiral Kepharos also detected the approaching object. His sensors showed a massive ship, much larger than anything humans were supposed to have. This was not in any of his intelligence reports. "What is that thing?" he demanded. His tactical officer studied the readings. "It appears to be a human vessel, sir, but it's enormous. Our largest ships are only half that size." Kepharos felt a chill run down his spine. If the humans had ships like that, why had they not used them from the beginning? What else were they hiding? The mysterious ship was getting closer, and soon everyone would see what humanity was really capable of. The ship that came out of the darkness was like nothing anyone had ever seen. It was huge, almost 2 kilometers long and half a kilometer wide. Its hull was dark gray and covered with weapons that looked different from anything on the smaller human ships. This was the USS Leviathan, and it was humanity's greatest secret. Captain Ryan Mitchell stood on the bridge of the massive ship. He was calm despite the chaos of battle happening around them. His crew of 3,000 people worked at their stations, preparing the ship's incredible weapons for combat. "This is Captain Mitchell of the USS Leviathan to all human ships," he said over the radio. His voice was steady and confident. "We are here to help. Hold your positions." The alien ships stopped firing for a moment. Admiral Kethfaros stared at the human dreadnought in complete shock. His intelligence reports had said nothing about such a ship. How had the humans built something so massive without anyone knowing? That is impossible, Kethfaros whispered to himself. They do not have the technology to build such a vessel. But the ship was real, and it was moving toward the alien fleet with purpose. The Leviathan's weapons were unlike anything the aliens had seen. Strange energy patterns moved along its hull, and the space around it seemed to bend and twist. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Brown was the Leviathan's weapons officer. She had trained for this moment for 5 years. Her fingers moved across the control panels, bringing the ship's experimental weapons online. "Weapon systems ready, Captain," she reported. "All batteries charged and ready to fire." "Target their largest ship," Captain Mitchell ordered. "Show them what we can do." The Leviathan's main weapon was something the aliens could not understand. It was called a particle beam cannon, but it was much more than that. It could change the basic structure of matter itself. Sarah locked onto the alien flagship. The weapon, charged with a deep humming sound that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Energy built up in the ship's core, creating a power level that dwarfed anything the smaller human ships could produce. "Firing main battery," Sarah announced. The beam that came from the Leviathan was not like the energy weapons the aliens used. It was a stream of pure destruction that moved at the speed of light. When it hit the alien ship, the vessel simply ceased to exist. The alien flagship was there one moment and gone the next. There was no explosion, no debris. It was as if the ship had never existed at all. Admiral Kethfaros felt terror for the first time in his life. His flagship, the pride of the Zephyrian fleet, had been destroyed in a single shot. The weapon that had killed and was beyond his understanding. "All ships, retreat," he ordered. "Get away from that monster." But the Leviathan was faster than it. Looked. Captain Mitchell had been studying the alien ships for the entire battle. He knew their capabilities and weaknesses. "Do not let them escape," he told his crew. "They came here to destroy Earth. Now they will learn what happens when you threaten humanity." The smaller human ships rallied around their protector. Captain Lisa Barrett felt hope surge through her as she watched the Leviathan tear through the alien formation. Her Phoenix was badly damaged, but she was still alive, and now they had a chance to win. Commander Steve Patterson ordered the Liberty to follow the Leviathan's attack. His ship's railguns might not be as powerful as the giant ship's weapons, but they could still help finish off the aliens. "All ships advance," Steve called out over the radio. "Time to show these aliens what humans can do when we fight together." The Leviathan's second weapon was even more terrifying than the first. It was called a gravity manipulator, and it could change the fundamental forces of space itself. When Sarah Brown fired it at 3 alien ships, they were crushed into tiny balls of metal by their own gravity. Captain Amy Walsh watched in amazement as the huge human ship dominated the battlefield. The Defender moved to support the attack, its weapons adding to the devastating firepower being directed at the aliens. The alien fleet was in complete chaos. Their ships were being destroyed faster than they could react. The technology they had been so proud of was useless against weapons that seemed to ignore the laws of physics. How is this possible? One of the alien captains asked over their communication system. These weapons should not exist. Captain Mitchell heard the alien transmission and decided to answer. "You made a mistake when you assumed we were primitive. The ships you have been fighting are our standard fleet. This ship represents what we build when we are serious about warfare." The Leviathan's third weapon was the most devastating of all. It was called a reality anchor, and it could change the laws of physics in a small area of space. When it fired, 3 more alien ships simply stopped existing, not destroyed, but edited out of reality itself. The remaining alien ships were trying to flee, But the Leviathan was not finished with them. Captain Mitchell had orders to gather information about alien technology and tactics. This battle was not just about defending Earth. It was about learning everything they could about their enemies. "Sarah, target their engines," Mitchell ordered. "Disable them, but do not destroy them all. We need some of them alive for questioning." The Leviathan's precision weapons fire disabled several alien ships without destroying them. The vessels drifted helplessly in space, their crews trapped inside. Colonel Marcus Wright was the ship's tactical coordinator. He had been planning this battle for months. Every detail had been worked out in advance. The aliens had walked into a trap, and they did not even know it. "Sir, the alien fleet is broken," Marcus reported. "They are trying to retreat, but we have disabled their fastest ships. The rest are easy targets." Captain Mitchell nodded. The battle was almost over, but the real work was just beginning. They had learned valuable information about alien technology. Now they could use that knowledge to prepare for the next attack. Smaller human ships moved to secure the disabled alien vessels. Captain Lisa Barrett's Phoenix might be damaged, but her crew could still board enemy ships and take prisoners. Admiral Kethfaros found himself trapped on a disabled ship, watching his proud fleet being destroyed by a species he had thought was inferior. The humans had been hiding their true capabilities all along. "We have underestimated them," he said to his surviving officers. "They are not the primitive creatures we thought they were." The battle was over, but the war was just beginning. The aliens now knew that humanity was not an easy target. They would have to reconsider their plans for conquest. The Leviathan hung in space like a dark angel of death, its weapons still glowing with power. The message was clear. Earth was under the protection of forces that could reshape reality itself. Mitchell opened a channel to all ships, both human and alien. "The age of human expansion begins today. Anyone who threatens our world will face the consequences." Admiral Kethfaros sat in his damaged command chair, staring at the human dreadnought through his broken view screen. Half of his fleet was destroyed, and the other half was either disabled or fleeing. His proud Zephyrian empire had been humiliated by a species they had considered primitive animals. "Captain," Mitchell opened a direct communication channel to the alien admiral. His face appeared on screens throughout the remaining alien ships. He looked calm and confident, like a teacher about to give an important lesson. "Admiral Kethfaros," Mitchell said, his voice carrying across space, "you made several critical errors today. Would you like to know what they were?" The alien admiral's yellow eyes burned with anger and confusion. "You cannot have built such a ship. Our intelligence reports said humans were centuries behind us in technology." Captain Mitchell smiled. "Your intelligence reports were exactly what we wanted you to believe. You see, Admiral, we have been watching you watch us. We knew you were studying Earth. We knew you were planning to attack. So we gave you false information." The truth hit Kethfaros like a physical blow. The humans had been deceiving them from the beginning. Everything the Zephyrian Empire thought they knew about human capabilities was wrong. "The ships you fought today represent our standard fleet," Mitchell continued. "We built them to look primitive and weak. We wanted you to feel confident when you attacked. We wanted you to bring your real technology so we could study it." Lieutenant Commander Sarah Brown watched her sensor readings as she analyzed the alien ships. Every weapon they had fired, every defensive system they had used, was being recorded and studied by human scientists. "We have learned everything we need to know about your Empire's military capabilities," Sarah reported to Captain Mitchell. "Their weapons, their shields, their tactics, all of it is now in our database." The revelation was devastating to the alien survivors. They had not been fighting a desperate battle for survival. They had been participating in a research experiment. The humans had been studying them like laboratory animals. Commander Steve Patterson, his USS Liberty now patrolling the debris field, could hardly believe what he was hearing. "Captain Mitchell, are you saying this entire battle was planned?" "Not planned, Commander. Anticipated. We knew they would come eventually. We prepared for that day by making them think we were weak. Every ship they destroyed transmitted valuable data back to Earth before it was lost." Captain Lisa Barrett felt a chill run down her spine. She had thought she was fighting to save Earth, but Earth had never been in real danger. The Phoenix and the other ships had been bait in a larger trap. "You sacrificed your own people to gather intelligence?" Admiral Kethfaros asked, his voice filled with horror. "We sacrificed volunteers who knew the risks," Mitchell replied. "Every person on every ship in this fleet knew they might not survive. They chose to serve anyway because they believed in protecting Earth." The alien admiral realized the full scope of what had happened. The humans had not just defeated his fleet. They had turned the invasion into a learning experience. They now knew everything about Zephyrian technology and tactics. Captain Amy Walsh, commanding the damaged Defender, was beginning to understand the bigger picture. "How many ships like the Leviathan do you have, Captain?" "That information is classified, Captain Walsh. But I can tell you that Earth is much better protected than our enemies imagine." Colonel Marcus Wright coordinated the capture of disabled alien ships. His teams were already boarding them, gathering technology samples and taking prisoners. The intelligence they were collecting would be invaluable for future conflicts. "Sir, we have secured 12 alien vessels," Marcus reported. "Our science teams are analyzing their technology. Initial reports suggest their weapons are actually less advanced than we expected." Captain Mitchell nodded. "The Zephyrians have been using the same basic technology for centuries. They stopped innovating because they thought they were superior to everyone else. That was their weakness. The humans had taken a different approach. Instead of assuming they were the best, they had constantly improved their technology. They had prepared for enemies who might be stronger, faster, or more advanced." Admiral Kethfaros watched human soldiers board his ships. They moved with precision and confidence. These were not the primitive creatures he had expected to conquer. They were skilled warriors with advanced equipment. "What will you do with us?" he asked Captain Mitchell. "That depends on you, Admiral. You can cooperate with our investigation, or you can remain silent. Either way, we will learn what we need to know from your technology." The alien admiral realized he had no choice. His empire had made a terrible mistake by attacking Earth. Now, they would face the consequences of their arrogance. Captain Mitchell's next revelation was even more shocking. "Admiral, you should know that this battle is being watched by representatives from 12 other species. They all received the same message we are about to send to your empire." The Leviathan's communication array activated, sending a signal across the galaxy. The message was simple but clear. Earth was under new management, and humanity was not to be underestimated. "We are not interested in conquest," Mitchell explained, "but we will not allow anyone to threaten our world. Your empire can choose to coexist with us, or you can choose to be our enemy. The decision is yours." Captain Lisa Barrett was helping coordinate the rescue of survivors from destroyed human ships. Despite the deception, real people had died in this battle. She felt conflicted about the larger strategy, but she understood why it had been necessary. "Captain Mitchell," she said over the radio, "what happens now? Do we go to war with the entire Zephyrian Empire?" "That depends on how smart they are, Captain Barrett. If they are wise, they will recognize that humans are not the easy targets they thought we were. If they are foolish, they will send more ships." The USS Leviathan began deploying recovery teams to help repair the damaged human ships. The Phoenix, Liberty, and Defender would all survive to fight another day. Their crews had earned their place in history as the first humans to defeat an alien invasion. Commander Steve Patterson was amazed by the efficiency of the Leviathan's crew. They had turned a desperate battle into a controlled experiment. The level of planning and preparation was incredible. "How long have you been preparing for this?" he asked Captain Mitchell. "Since the day we detected the first alien probe near our solar system, 5 years ago. We have been getting ready for this moment ever since." The truth was that Earth had been preparing for alien contact for decades. The Leviathan was not the only secret weapon in humanity's arsenal. There were others, hidden throughout human space, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. Admiral Cathpharos finally understood the magnitude of his empire's error. They had attacked a species that was not only more advanced than they had believed, but also more cunning and prepared. "You have been planning this for years," he said. "We have been planning for survival," Captain Mitchell replied. "Today, we learned that we are capable of much more than that." The surviving alien ships limped away from the battlefield like wounded animals. Admiral Cathpharos sat in his damaged command chair, watching Earth grow smaller on his view screen. His once proud fleet was now a collection of broken ships and shattered dreams. Before leaving, he sent one final message to Captain Mitchell and the human fleet. His voice was filled with anger and barely controlled rage. "This is not over, humans. The Zephyrian Empire has thousands of ships. We will return with our full military might. You cannot defeat the entire galaxy." Captain Mitchell's response was calm and confident. "We will be waiting, Admiral, and we will be ready." The alien ships activated their jump drives and disappeared into the darkness between stars. They left behind a changed galaxy, one where humans were no longer seen as weak or primitive. Captain Lisa Barrett stood on the bridge of her damaged Phoenix, watching the enemy fleet retreat. Her ship had suffered heavy damage, but her crew was alive. They had survived the first battle between humans and aliens, and they had won. "Captain Mitchell," she said over the radio, "on behalf of my crew and everyone who fought here today, thank you. Without the Leviathan, we would all be dead. Thank you for your service, Captain Barrett, but this was never about rescue. This was always about proving a point. Today, we showed the galaxy that humanity is not to be underestimated." The truth was beginning to sink in for all the human crews. They had not been sent on a desperate mission to save Earth. They had been part of a carefully planned operation to gather intelligence and demonstrate human capabilities. Commander Steve Patterson felt mixed emotions about the revelation. He was proud of what they had accomplished, but he was also troubled by the deception. Good people had died, and they had thought they were Earth's last hope. "Captain Mitchell," he said, "how many of us knew the truth about this mission?" "Only a few senior officers were fully briefed," Mitchell replied. "The rest of you had to believe you were fighting for Earth's survival. Your genuine reactions made the deception more convincing." Captain Amy Walsh was coordinating damage control on the Defender. Her ship would need major repairs, but it would fly again. She had mixed feelings about being used as bait, but she understood the bigger picture. "So what happens now?" she asked. "Do we go home and pretend this never happened?" Captain Mitchell's answer surprised everyone. "No, Captain Walsh. Now we prepare for the next phase." This battle was just the beginning. The USS Leviathan began, deploying repair drones to help fix the damaged human ships. The massive vessel had manufacturing capabilities that could rebuild entire sections of damaged vessels. It was like a mobile shipyard disguised as a warship. Back on Earth, General Patricia Lane stood in the Strategic Command Center, watching the battle reports come in. Around her, dozens of similar operations were being activated. The deception was over, and humanity was ready to reveal its true capabilities. "Activate the other ships," she ordered. "It's time to show the galaxy what we really have. A cross-human, Space, massive ships began powering up. The Leviathan was not unique. There were 12 other vessels of similar size and capability, each one hidden in a different part of the solar system. The USS Behemoth emerged from behind Jupiter's largest moon. The USS Kraken rose from the depths of the Pacific Ocean on Earth. The USS Colossus decloaked near the asteroid belt. One by one, humanity's secret fleet revealed itself. Admiral Jake Morrison, coordinating the aftermath from the USS Titan, watched in amazement as ship after ship appeared on his sensors. He had been the admiral in charge of the defensive fleet, but he had never known about these massive vessels. "Command, how many of these ships do we have?" he asked. "Enough, Admiral Morrison." "More than enough," came the reply from Earth. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had been preparing for this day for decades. Every alien probe that had been detected, every piece of technology that had been recovered, every bit of intelligence that had been gathered had been used to build this secret fleet. Captain Mitchell opened a channel to all human ships. Today marks the beginning of a new age. For too long, humans have been content to stay in our small corner of the galaxy. That changes now. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not just defended itself against an alien invasion. They had turned the invasion into an intelligence-gathering operation and revealed themselves as a major galactic power. Admiral Kethvaros, now fleeing toward Zephyrian space, realized the true scope of what had happened. The humans had not just defeated his fleet. They had been preparing for galactic warfare for years, maybe decades. "Send a message to the Empire," he ordered his communications officer. "Tell them that we have gravely underestimated the humans. They are not primitive. They are not weak. They are dangerous." The message that reached the Zephyrian Empire was one of shock and disbelief. Their second fleet, one of their most powerful military formations, had been destroyed by a species they had considered barely spacefaring. But the humans were not finished demonstrating their capabilities. The Leviathan's communication array sent a signal across the galaxy. The message was broadcast to every known intelligent species. "This is Captain Ryan Mitchell of the United Earth Space Force. Today, the Zephyrian Empire attacked our world without provocation. They believed we were weak and primitive. They were wrong. Humanity is now prepared to take its place among the stars. We seek peace, but we are ready for war." The message was received by dozens of alien civilizations. Some were terrified by the display of human power. Others were intrigued by the possibility of new allies. All of them realized that the galaxy had changed forever. Captain Lisa Barrett was amazed by the scope of what she had witnessed. "Captain Mitchell, how long have you been planning this?" "Since the day we first detected alien life," Mitchell replied. "We always knew this day would come. We just wanted to be ready when it arrived." The human fleet began the long journey home to Earth. The Phoenix, Liberty, and Defender would be repaired and upgraded with new technology based on what they had learned from the aliens. Commander Steve Patterson reflected on the day's events. "We came here thinking we were going to die defending Earth. Instead, we became part of humanity's coming out party to the galaxy." Captain Amy Walsh watched the massive human ships moving through space. "I have to admit, I'm impressed. This is the most elaborate military operation in human history." The USS Leviathan and its sister ships formed a protective formation around the smaller vessels. They were no longer hiding. The galaxy now knew that humanity had teeth, and they were sharp. Colonel Marcus Wright was coordinating the analysis of captured alien technology. "Sir, preliminary reports suggest that their weapons are actually inferior to ours in most categories. They rely on energy shields that are vulnerable to kinetic weapons." Captain Mitchell nodded. "That information will be useful for future encounters. Make sure it gets distributed to all human ships." The battle was over, But the war for humanity's place in the galaxy was just beginning. The aliens had underestimated Earth's children, and now they would have to live with the consequences. As the human fleet headed home, they left behind a changed galaxy. The age of human expansion had begun, and nothing would ever be the same. Again, the species that had once been considered primitive and weak had revealed itself as a force to be reckoned with. The stars themselves seemed different now, full of possibilities and dangers that had not existed before. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy, and the galaxy would never forget.